Hi, everybody. Welcome to a very brief discussion here on Andy Takes On that we're going to have. It was intended to be live, but we are encountering challenges of the technical nature. And so I had to pre record this, but I'm sure the next live will go much more swimmingly. Anyway, here we are. We are in week one since the Snyder Cut was released on March 18th. That's last Thursday on HBO Max. Some of you have seen it, some of you have not. If you have seen it, please let me know what you're thinking about it. If you haven't, then let me save you 4 hours. Literally 4 hours, so that I can tell you what happened in this movie and what you can look forward to. Now, before we get into the review of the Snyder Cut, I had promised that we will be doing an announcement of the winner of the competition that we had when we had the Valentine's live poetry and comedy show. And so I'm here to make that announcement today. If you missed it, if you go back on the channel, you look at the other videos that we have, you'll see that there was a competition that we had when we were getting romantic and comedic, like a romantic comedy. You see what I did there? We were getting funny on Valentine's Day, and our competition was that if you invited a number of people to like the channel, to subscribe to the channel, the person who would have invited the most people, and we would know this person by their name being listed in the comments, the person who had made the most invitations, who had sent the most invitations out to people, would win a copy of my debut poetry collection, that is Man of Letters. You know it's my collection because it's got my face on it, and if that's not enough, it's also got my name on it. If that's not enough, it's also got another picture of me on the back. If that's not enough, anyway, my debut collection, Man of Letters, would be the prize, and it is the prize. And in addition to that, some chocolate of the sweet variety. I don't know if there's another variety, but basically some chocolate was also up in the offing. And so today it gives me much pleasure to finally be able to announce to you who has won or who was the winner of the Valentine's promotion. Drum roll, please. Woo. Omega 5, Delta, something, stomp the yard. Okay, the winner in the initial Valentine's promotion on the Andrew Manika YouTube channel is Colin Ziageva. And as promised, Colin, congratulations. We will be getting your book to you come high water or low water. But yes, as promised, this book is going to be a signed copy. So this is your signed copy of Man of Letters, and I'm signing it and making it out to you now. This is a real signature, not those fake ones that people do when they're getting married. You've seen those marriage certificate things where people, they're not signing, they're just, anyway, this is real. Okay. To Colin. Thank you for supporting the journey. I could have been a doctor. You'll be able to tell because my signature is of the uh, other variety. What is the date today? Today is the 22nd of March in the year 2021. So this is your signed copy of Man of Letters. As you can tell, I wrote it with my cursive, which they told me is not encouraged anymore, but alas, there it is. And so we're making sure that you get that and the chocolate to you at our earliest convenience. We have your banking we have your contact details. I was about to talk about banking details. I'm looking for one of my bookmarks, but I see that my bookshelf. Do you like my bookshelf, by the way, guys? It's looking delicious, looking lovely, looking like. Anyway, your selection of bookmark will also be available to you because we've got quite a wide variety. These bookmarks contain quotations from Andrew Manika, that's me, from my poetry. So there are a selection of 4 bookmarks, and you can pick whichever one you prefer. That and chocolate will make its way to you. I hope your wife allows you to be the one to devour your chocolate, but who knows? All right, so ladies and gentlemen, as we've already said, the time has come for us to do a discussion around Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League. I am going to post the full, complete usual review from Andy Takes On. I'm going to post that next week on Monday. That's going to be the edited one with little B-roll clips from the actual movie itself. But and then in that discussion, there's also going to be some spoilers. But for today, I just wanted to give a brief outline about the Justice League movie. So I know that you had questions about it. Was it worth watching? Was it different to the initial movie that they released in 2017? Is it really 4 hours long? Yes, by the way, on that one, yes. And should I go and watch it or should I download it? Allow me to say, yes, watch this movie. Wow, okay. I had my reservations. I won't even front. I won't lie. I won't pretend. I had my reservations going in because Zack Snyder is also the man who gave us Batman versus Superman. You remember that one? That's the one where Superman says Martha, and Batman decides that, well, if his mom is the same name as my mom, then I can't kill this man. Yes. So I was worried, but at the back of my mind, I also remember that Zack Snyder gave us 300 and he gave us Watchmen. So I thought, let's give it a shot. So for a 4 hour movie, you have to do certain things. You have to take some time off work. You have to go and think about your life and your life choices so that you can find 4 hours to spare so that you can watch this movie from start to finish. And that's exactly what I did. And I've come back to tell you a couple of things, a couple of salient points before the full review, which I'll give to you next week. But number one, should you go and watch it? Absolutely. Go and watch this movie. It's not nearly the same film, okay? There are so many changes that they made, but let me just give you the story in brief without spoiling it. The story picks up exactly where Batman versus Superman ended. This is at the death of Clark Kent, the death of Superman, where he got pierced by Darkseid. Now, instead of us moving to his funeral, etc., instead, the shock waves from his death screams actually go out as sound waves around the world, around the parts of the world that are close enough that they can hear them anyway. And this is what awakens the mother boxes. Now, with the mother boxes awake, one of them reaches out to Steppenwolf, as one does, and then we meet him on the island of Themyscira, where Diana comes from. Now, this is not Steppenwolf as you used to know him. This is a different ballgame altogether, all right? Because this Steppenwolf right here, this Steppenwolf is me. He's got like a living armor that sort of like comes on and off. You remember Iron Man? Like that when he had the nanotech armor? Yeah, that vibe. And it's coming on and off as he's engaging in battle and he canes the Amazons on Themyscira. But this is where one of the main differences of this movie from the previous one comes out. Most of the action scenes you have already seen. However, these ones are extended. They're longer, they're more detailed, and that's exactly what you see on the island of Themyscira, where he engages the Amazons in battle, but it is a more intense battle. The action is more, I don't know, it's more engaging. And even he himself, Stepanov, looks more mean. I mean, he's got 7 fingers. I counted 7. It looks like if somebody was turning into a werewolf and then just stopped halfway. That's what Stepanov is looking like. So it picks up right there from where Batman vs Superman ends. We get onto Themyscira, and then after that we meet Diana. Now Diana, you'll remember from the previous Justice League that we meet her when she thwarts these terrorists that are about to blow up 4 blocks in London. Well, this time she thwarts these terrorists that are about to floor 4 blocks in London. Try saying that one time fast, just once. But yes, she goes in there. The action is intense. She's moving at super speed. She's deflecting bullets, and she sort of like, kind of like can fly. I don't know. Like the DC universe is still not yet settled on the question of whether or not Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, can fly. Although we've got like decades of comics that show that she clearly can. But at any rate, she does this battle and it's intense, it's amazing. Themyscira, these guys get defeated, Steppenwolf gets the mother box. And then we start to meet other characters. We meet Victor Stone. Now, in the previous movie, Vic was just this surly teenager who's been thrust in the role of a hero unwillingly. He's still unwilling, but then you get more of his backstory here. You understand the dynamic of the relationship between himself and his father, Victor Stone. You understand his relationship even with his mother. You get to see the accident that led to the injuries that made it necessary for his father to use the mother box and so on, etc. But yes, you get that backstory, which was one of my main gripes or complaints with the initial Justice League movie was they didn't give us the benefit of the backstory. Some of us, I'm a geek, I'm not even gonna front. I know comic books because I read them, but even with that having been said, if you're going to present it to me as a live action movie, I would still want to see your interpretation of certain things. I'm not saying show me the scene where Bruce Wayne's parents get killed, but show me new characters like Cyborg, who's never been in a live action movie before, and let us get to see how he came to be what he is. So they gave us that this time around, right? And then we meet Barry Allen. And again, even the way that he's introduced in this film, it still establishes him as a sort of comical character, by which I mean he's a funny dude, but it's less jocular in a way than in the previous movie where he was just being a clown and he drew with a sharpie on that guy's face. In this particular version of the in this particular version, he we meet him and he immediately establishes himself both as a man of action, sort of as a deadbeat kid who's working dead end jobs, at the same time as a funny guy. And we see all of this in the establishing scene where he saves this young lady from a car accident that she was having because she was staring at him whilst driving. I guess the moral of that story is don't stare and drive, kids. Don't stare and drive. So that's Barry Allen. So I'm reading, sorry, as I go, because I just want to make sure that I capture some of the main tenets. All right, so I'm just looking at my notes here. So the first time that you see the movie, you realize that it's going to be really wildly different from the movie that came before because of even the dialogue that you are expecting. So whereas the 2017 Justice League was really determined to make it so that there's a lot of infighting in the team. I remember in varsity they taught us that when teams are formed, they go through processes. So there's forming where they come together, storming where they argue, norming where we finally have the group dynamic set and we're working, and then performing where we go and beat Steppenwolf. In this particular case, where the 2017 movie really was determined to make it so that there's a lot of friction within the team. Batman saying, let's bring Superman back. Diana saying, hell no. Aquaman is like, I don't even want to be here. And the Flash is hungry most of the time. This time around, you feel like the Justice League is gelling well. The Justice League is gelling and moving as a unit, even if they have minor differences, but they still have that unity of accord, unity of purpose. And then this comes out all the more clearly when they make the decision to resurrect Superman. And oh, I was so happy when they did this. They cut out that ridiculous line about how he was stronger than a planet. Nobody's stronger than a planet, okay? It's a planet, okay? It is a celestial body, and I'm not talking about angel. It's a planet. But I digress. He's not stronger than a planet, and they don't say it. They don't go down that route this time. Instead, they talk about the effect of the power of a mother box to be able to convert one form of matter into another, and that's what they do with Superman, and they bring him back. Now, this is happening over the course of a narrative. Now, because it's a 4-hour movie, what Zack Snyder did this time around was that he did the Quentin Tarantino approach, where he split the movie into chapters. So it's split into sections, with the first one being Not a Chance Batman, where Aquaman and Batman have their exchange, and then we move on to parts like Something Much Darker, and we move on to parts like Change Machine, where each chapter sort of describes a particular element that's necessary to move the story forward. And then ultimately they resurrect Superman. They have their showdown at the point of his resurrection, as they did before. But even this action sequence is off the charts. Like, I know they did reshoots, and I'm glad they did, because they really took full advantage of the setting, of the people that were there. They even had a more, I think, plausible explanation for why Lois Lane was anywhere near the site when Superman was resurrected. And they go to town. The destruction is there. The destructive power of Superman is on display. Even the cohesion of the team is on display, and obviously his love for Lois, his inexplicable love for Lois, because his love for Lois is on display as well, and that pans out quite nicely. His return from being like half zombie Superman to being like, I'm back and I'm fully back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger Superman, is also made very abundantly apparent. The star of the show for me was Barry Allen. Now, one of the complaints that I have, and if you haven't seen it, you can check out my previous review of Batman versus Superman. But one of the complaints that I had was that they made Barry this character, this like comic relief character. Now, if you're a geek like me and you read comics like me, you'll know that there's two main versions of the Flash in the DC universe. There's Barry Allen and there's Wally West. Now, where Wally is a joking, bungling, silly kind of guy, Barry Allen is very serious. He's a cop, well, he works in a crime lab, and he does all this very serious work, and he's got a serious approach to being a member of the League. So it was like the writers were trying to balance out which version of the Flash we want and try to give us both. But this time around, Barry, yes, he's joking around, and maybe this is going to be the on-screen interpretation, but he's so cool. Like he's super cool, and his mastery of his powers, his knowledge of how the Speed Force works, how he works within it, what he's able to do, how he's able to manipulate time, was even used so that they could set up the coming of the Flashpoint movie, which I'm told is going to be the Flash's debut solo film in the DCEU. Basically, this movie finally did it. They finally got me excited about the DCEU. And I'm not talking about it, and I don't want to have to mention the other company that's making superhero movies every time I do a DC movie, but just as standalone movies, they weren't cutting it. But this time around, look, there are still silly things that happen in the movie. For some reason, the Atlanteans need to create air bubbles so that they can talk to each other, as opposed to, being people who live underwater, therefore have mastered a way to be able to communicate underwater. There's things like that where there's still some logical fallacies. There's still some inconsistencies in the world building, but these things are minor compared to the story that they were able to tell, and the action is off the chain. Aquaman still says "my man," which is important, clearly, and oh yeah. But other than that, he's a pretty serious guy. Bruce Wayne, still rich, and is developing a sense of humor which doesn't feel out of place. In fact, I would even go so far as to say that I would look forward to seeing another Bruce Wayne played by Ben Affleck movie. Yeah, I would want to see another Batman movie where Ben Affleck is Bruce Wayne. I think he is good in the role. I think he's good at being the Bat, and I think he's delivering very hard. And whilst I've got nothing against Robert Pattinson, even though I've seen the Twilight movies, I still think Bruce Wayne as Batman, as Ben Affleck, is a worthy choice. I would like to say Steppenwolf didn't also spend the whole movie talking about his mother, Sigmund Freud. Thanks you, as do the good people at the Bates Motel. Thank you for that. So it was exciting, man. It was something that doesn't happen in movies often, which is that they put together a movie that they've already done and they redid it, they rejigged it, which is a cheat, but it's okay, we'll allow it because what they gave us, what they delivered to us, was a movie that was finally worthy of the attention that it got. Did it live up to the hype that they put on it in terms of release the Snyder Cut? Yeah, there's even a new Nightmare in here. In the new Nightmare, we've got Bruce Wayne and the Joker, and all of these different characters coming together to fight off a Superman who seems to be coming unhinged still. So that's still a fear in the DCE universe that Superman might tip over like he did in the Injustice Gods Among Us video game storyline. So it's exciting, man. It's finally exciting. You finally look forward to DCE you movies with anticipation. So, long story short, that's my initial thinking around the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Let me know what you thought. The comments are here. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share the links. Let's have it as a discussion, man. Let's talk about it. And then next week on Monday, I'm going to share with you the actual review that's going to go into the usual sections that I go in, where it's story, characters, tones and themes, my take, and finally a few background issues. But otherwise, this has been my first discussion, my first initial thoughts on the movie Zack Snyder's Justice League. Let me know what you think, and I will see you again very, very soon. Cheers.